Welcome to the Kenya Wantamnotam Movement, or KWM podcast.
Hello.
Today, we're diving deep into the really powerful analysis put forth by KWM.
That's right. We're exploring the sources they've gathered, materials that, frankly, lay bare some deep structural inequalities in Kenya.
And they also propose some pretty radical solutions for change, which we'll get into.
Exactly. Our mission today is really to unpack the KWM's core thesis, especially looking at their article, Kenya, the Most Unequal Society in the World.
That's a bold title.
It is. But they argue the data backs it up. And this isn't just, a dry discussion about statistics or wealth disparity.
No.
It's an examination of how that inequality, they argue, is actively engineered.
Engineered, okay.
Yeah. KWM says this isn't random. It's the result of specific, deliberate mechanisms, things designed essentially to create this profound divide between the country's wealth and the widespread hunger you see.
Right. Okay, let's unpack that. But first, maybe for listeners who are newer to the movement, the name itself, Wantamnotam. It kind of signifies a refusal, right? A refusal to accept things as they are. It's about an organized demand for something different.
Precisely. It's a call to action embedded in the name.
And the source material we're looking at today, it kicks off with this incredibly stark image. Standing in Nairobi, and you can literally see a billionaire's glass mansion right across the road from children fighting over scraps.
It's a visual gut punch.
It really is. And KWM asserts that this contrast, it's not just sad, it's the clearest sign that the system is fundamentally broken.
And broken by design. Engineered, as we said.
So KWM sources, they synthesize this idea. You might see GDP growth, maybe new highways.
Like the headline numbers?
But that growth, it's only benefited a tiny, tiny fraction of people.
Yes. The core mechanism they identify is essentially one of legalized wealth extraction.
Legalized extraction, okay. Right. So what does that actually look like on the ground for the average person?
Well, the KWM report suggests the real pinch, the everyday struggle, comes because the cost of basic things, food, rent, bus fare, school fees, it just keeps climbing.
Faster than wages rise for most people.
Much faster, if wages rise at all. That gap is the absolute centerpiece of the KWM analysis.
Okay.
They highlight this tragic irony. Serving the people, being a teacher, a nurse, a civil servant, it pays far less than ruling them.
Ruling them.
Look at Parliament, for example. The source material points to this immense, almost unbelievable gap. An MP's salary plus all the allowances they vote for themselves.
Allowances for housing, travel, sitting on committees.
Exactly. That total package can literally dwarf the pay of, say, a doctor or a teacher with decades of experience by multiples of 100.
Wait, say that again, multiples of 100.
That's what the analysis shows, hundreds of times over.
So KWM is saying the very systems meant to govern are structured to extract wealth for the governors.
That's the core argument. It's not just poor economic planning, it's a deliberate incentive structure. It favors the ruler, not the public servant.
And this must create a sense of despair.
Well, yes. Manufactured despair, as KWM puts it. And it has predictable, really crippling ripple effects across society.
Okay.
The low, often stagnant pay for the majority. Think about matatu drivers, security guards, the clerks in government offices. It doesn't just cause poverty.
It does something else.
It actively fuels petty corruption everywhere.
Ah, okay. That makes a grim kind of sense. The desperation kicks in.
Exactly. When wages are so low, small theft isn't just about greed anymore. It becomes about survival for some.
So police taking small bribes on the road, or clerks maybe asking for a little something under the table to process a document faster.
Precisely. The source material argues this isn't just a few bad apples. It's a direct consequence of a system that pays young graduates, for instance, barely enough to cover their transport to work and lunch.
So the system itself pushes ordinary, maybe decent people into making these desperate choices.
That's the KWM perspective.
Yeah.
It compromises people.
Okay, so if we follow that chain, inequality leads to despair, leads to petty corruption. What breaks next?
The next link in the chain, according to KWM, is the traditional ladder out of poverty, education. They describe this ladder as, utterly broken. Think overcrowded public schools, sometimes crumbling buildings.
Right.
And teachers who are underpaid, overloaded, and inevitably demoralized. How can they perform miracles under those conditions?
They can't. And the result, KWM says, is that illiteracy just hides in plain sight.
Yeah, you have students being pushed through the grades.
Social promotion.
Right. They graduate, maybe, but without mastering basic reading, writing, arithmetic. They can't compete effectively in a modern economy.
And that failure, that ignorance, as KWM terms it, it's incredibly expensive for the nation.
Oh, hugely expensive. Economically, of course, but also politically.
How so? Politically?
Well, it allows leaders, or aspiring leaders, to spread sensationalist narratives, maybe empty promises.
Because part of the electorate might lack the critical thinking skills or the civic literacy to see through it.
Exactly. To demand real policy accountability, or even understand their basic rights, like health rights.
Which brings us to the next point. What happens when you mix this poverty, this ignorance, and this systemic theft with healthcare?
It's a recipe for disaster. Disease thrives. The source material, it paints a really grim picture of public hospitals.
Like what?
Frequent lack of basic drugs, equipment that's broken down or non-existent, not enough staff.
And the shocking detail, the one that really stands out in the KWM analysis,
Is the transactional nature. Patients or their families being told they have to go out and buy essential items themselves.
buy gloves, syringes, even the medicine itself, before they can get treatment.
Yes, before treatment can even begin, in some cases documented. It creates this stark dual system.
Where the rich?
The rich, or well-connected, they can afford private clinics, or they fly out maybe to India, Europe, South Africa for quick, high-quality care.
While everyone else waits.
Waits and long lines, dealing with persistent, often preventable issues, high maternal mortality rates, malaria, things that shouldn't be killing people in the 21st century.
And KWM points out a single major illness that can be enough to push an entire family into generations of poverty.
Because the safety net just isn't there. It's completely inadequate.
Now, the KWM sources, they don't just point fingers at the government's failures.
No, they also turn a very scrutinizing eye toward another powerful institution, the church.
Okay, what's the argument there?
Well, the church in Kenya has immense power. Numbers millions gather every Sunday, money significant collections, and huge social influence.
Which makes the pulpit a very attractive stage for politicians, right? Seeking legitimacy, seeking votes.
Absolutely. And the challenge the KWM puts forth directly to the church is captured in a question they pose. Are you sleeping or awake?
Sleeping or awake, meaning?
Meaning, are you passively allowing corruption and bad governance, or are you actively confronting it?
And what does confronting it look like, according to KWM?
Well, first, refusing to give politicians a platform, refusing to host them or let them speak in church until they show actual evidence of good governance and service delivery.
Taking a stand.
Taking a stand. But maybe even more radically, KWM suggests the church should redirect its substantial weekly offerings.
Away from
just building bigger churches or hosting massive prayer rallies, and towards direct social action.
Like what specifically?
Like funding community health clinics in underserved areas, sponsoring school fees for children from poor families, supporting small business microloans to create jobs.
Wow, that really reframes the church's role. From just spiritual guidance to being a frontline agent of social justice and accountability?
That's the challenge KWN lays down. Using its moral weight and its financial resources differently, including advocating on big issues like wage reform, fair taxation.
Okay, let's turn back to the state then. KWM argues Kenya actually has enough resources.
Yes, that's a crucial point. They argue the country possesses enough natural wealth, human capital, potential for foreign investment. Enough to end extreme poverty.
So the problem isn't scarcity.
The problem, according to KWM, is systematic theft and institutional waste. It's not that the money isn't there, it's that it disappears.
How?
Billions vanish every year. Inflated government tenders contracts awarded for way more than they're worth. Payrolls padded with ghost workers who don't exist.
Ghost workers?
Yeah. Projects that start with great fanfare, money is allocated, but they stall halfway through, never completed.
And the source material is blunt about where that missing money goes.
Very blunt. It buys luxury SUVs for officials. It builds private mansions for the corrupt elite.
Instead of hospitals, schools, clean water projects, the things the public actually paid taxes for.
Exactly. And what really seals this cycle, what makes it so hard to break, is the almost total failure of accountability.
Impunity.
Impunity. Political leaders might make speeches condemning corruption.
Sure.
But the ethics bodies, the anti-corruption commissions, they might name powerful figures, but actual prosecution, trial, conviction, very rare.
So the powerful remain largely untouchable.
That's the perception, and often the reality KWM describes. And even well-intentioned reforms, like devolution, decentralizing power to the counties.
That was meant to bring services closer to the people, right?
That was the idea. But in practice, KWM notes it sometimes failed. Some county governors became like mini presidents in their own right,
With control over large county budgets.
leading to a whole new layer of localized scandals.
Yeah.
County money spent on extravagant office furniture, unnecessary foreign trips, lavish parties.
Instead of fixing local roads, stocking health clinics, providing water.
Precisely. The same patterns of waste and potential corruption just replicated at the county level in some cases.
Okay, listening to all this, the scale of these engineered challenges, it can feel completely overwhelming, hopeless even.
It can.
Yeah.
It really can. But the Kenya Wantamnotam movement doesn't stop at diagnosis. It points the way towards solutions.
And the core solution is citizen action.
Organized citizen action. That's the necessary ingredient, they argue. So if you're listening and you feel compelled, you feel like you need to be part of that solution to demand better.
Then KWM encourages you to join the movement. Now is the time.
Yes. Visit www.wantamnotam.com. That's WANTAMNOTAM.com. Create your account there.
And you'll find all 47 counties listed.
That's right. Identify your county and start connecting. Start posting, sharing your ideas that can help change your village, your town, your city, and ultimately the nation.
Because the power of KWM really comes from that collective action.
Yeah.
From members organizing.
Exactly. It's a platform for that organization.
Okay, so having diagnosed the engineered problem, what is the KWM vision for what they call a different politics?
Well, it's fundamentally about shifting focus, moving away from the sort of short-term political cycle, just winning the next election, distributing patronage,
Right.
and instead focusing on genuine long-term investments.
Investment in what?
In the real economy. Manufacturing, agriculture, making Kenya food secure and an exporter again, technology, things that create masses of decent jobs.
Because the economic logic is, if young people have meaningful work,
Then despair decreases, crime rates fall, drug abuse falls. You tackle the root causes that also fuel that petty corruption we talked about.
Okay, but achieving that requires more than just good intentions. It needs structural change.
Deep legislative structural change, yes.
Yeah.
For instance, KWM suggests Parliament must legislate binding caps on income inequality within public institutions.
Caps on inequality, how would that work?
It means systematically narrowing that huge gap we discussed. So, for example, if the highest earner in a public body, maybe a CEO of a parastatal, earns X, then the lowest paid worker in that same institution, say the cleaner or the messenger, must earn no less than a certain fraction of X, maybe Y, ensuring a living wage for everyone who serves the public.
From the minister right down to the
That's the principle. And this needs backing by transparent wage councils, councils that review and adjust salaries annually based on the real cost of living, the real inflation rate, not just based on political whims.
providing stability and security for working families.
Exactly.
Tax reform also sounds paramount in the KWM proposals.
Oh, absolutely. And the sources are pretty unsparing here. They highlight what they see as a deeply regressive tax structure.
Meaning it hits the poor harder.
Yes. The government often relies heavily on value-added tax, VAT, on basic necessities, bread, cooking oil, sanitary pads.
Things everyone has to buy.
Right. It's an efficient way to collect revenue from the poor and the masses. Meanwhile, KWM argues large corporations, multinational companies, often benefit from loopholes, tax holidays, special exemptions.
So the burden isn't shared fairly.
Not according to KWM. They demand closing these loopholes, ensuring fair taxation across the board, make corporations pay their fair share.
And then, crucially, transparency.
Total financial transparency.
Yeah.
This is non-negotiable for KWM. They demand publishing every single shilling of public expenditure online.
Every shilling.
Every shilling. Project by project. Who got the tender? How much did it cost? Who are the directors of the company? What's the progress?
That level of detail.
That level of forensic detail. Because that's what's necessary for citizens to actually monitor how their money is being spent, to hold power accountable.
Which brings us back to the role of the citizen. KWM stresses Kenyans can't just wait to be rescued.
No waiting for a savior from above. Change has to be generated from within, from the grassroots.
Practically.
They must organize into neighborhood groups, community associations, groups that actively monitor local government projects.
So you see a road being built badly or a clinic that's never open.
You document it. You question it. You report stalled works. You challenge inflated costs. You put pressure on your local leaders, the member of county assembly, MCA, the governor. Make them answerable.
So social media naming and shaming is okay, but it's not enough.
It's a start. It raises awareness. But KWM says it needs to evolve into structured, local, civic watchdog networks, real organization on the ground.
And the central message, perhaps the most powerful one, to the individual voter
Is empowerment. And it's stark.
Mm.
Refuse to sell your vote.
Explain that.
The KWM source material warns very clearly. Those small handouts you might receive during the campaign season, the 50 shillings, the 100 shillings, the bag of sugar,
Yeah.
that's not free money. It's effectively a loan. A loan that voters repay with interest through 5 years of bad governance, continued theft, and neglect of their needs.
Wow. That's a powerful framing. Repaying the handout with bad governance.
Exactly. So the logic follows. If the electorate consistently, collectively, refuses to reward known thieves or non-performers with re-election,
If they vote based on track record and integrity.
then the political class will have no choice but to change their behavior. The incentives shift.
And finally, KWM brings it right back to those two great equalizers, the foundations of opportunity.
Education and health. They call for urgent fundamental education reform, better teacher training and support, making digital learning accessible to all kids, not just the wealthy, and importantly, shifting the curriculum towards practical, vocational skills. Skills that prepare students to solve real-world problems, maybe start their own small businesses, not just look for scarce white-collar jobs.
Yeah, Tal.
The demand is for a truly universal health insurance system, one that actually works, that guarantees access to quality treatment for all citizens, regardless of their ability to pay a front.
So that a single illness, like we said, doesn't automatically mean destitution for a family.
It's about basic dignity. It's the cornerstone of a just society.
Okay. So we've covered the problem, the analysis, the proposed solutions. Let's leave our listeners with that final provocative thought drawn straight from the KWM source material. Kenya stands at a choice point. It can choose to be a country where a farmer's child has fundamentally the same opportunity, the same chance as a minister's child.
It's the same chance to see a doctor when sick, go to a decent school, live a life with dignity.
That choice is possible. So the question for you, listening right now, is this. What single specific local step taken within your county do you believe would make that choice, that more equal future, a reality the fastest?
Think about immediate, tangible action right where you are. What's the first domino that needs to fall?
It's a powerful question to reflect on.
Indeed. And the overall message from the Kenya Wantamnotam Movement is crystal clear. This change won't happen by itself. It requires coordinated, organized courage.
From the government, yes, but also from institutions like the church and, crucially, from every single citizen taking responsibility.
To actively work together to dismantle these engineered inequalities.
So if you are ready to take that step, if you're ready to contribute your ideas, your energy to this vital national discussion,
we really do urge you. Join the movement. Begin organizing today.
Visit www.wantamnotam.com. Create that account.
Find your county. Start posting, start sharing, start connecting with others who want change. Your ideas can help transform your village, your city, your nation.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the Kenya Wantamnotam Movement, KWM podcast.